We are really excited to have Ilene Sipp on the podcast today. Ilene's journey is incredible. She made the bold switch from the fast-paced world of ER nursing to becoming a dedicated nurse coach. During the pandemic, she discovered her true passion, helping nurses overcome burnout and navigate the intense challenges of healthcare. In this episode, Ilene gets candid about burnout, the urgent need for better communication, and the powerful impact coaching can have on nurses' lives. Her honest, energetic approach highlights why our healthcare systems need to evolve and how nurses can reclaim their strength and purpose. Welcome back to Uncharted Narratives. If you're just joining us, we're continuing our second-part conversation. Now let's continue our journey and uncover more remarkable stories and insights.
And this has become common. It's doesn't happen with me, but I started to realize when I meet with the healthcare provider, nurses, physicians, and also pharmacists overall, it seems there's a theme for bullying also. This is where it start to coming there. So it's not only a toxic environment, a bad environment. You came and you are afraid for someone to bully you for any action or behavior or attitude you have it. So again, this will make you isolated and start to know in these days after the pandemic, most of the nurses for a few different factors. Some of them, the shortage, they sometimes bring it from different cities and from different hospital, sometimes because they are tired. There's many of reasons. But what's happening right now, in their break, no one speak with anyone. Everyone looking at their phone, and there is no social interaction between themselves, which is very bad.
Yeah. Well, think about it. When you feel seen by your coworker, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go and help that person when they're drowning in their patient care, right? Like you just see them doing the work of 3 people because they're just really dedicated to their job. But if you have a relationship with that person, you're going to be like, hey, how can I help you? I have some downtime. Like, what can I do to help you? If everybody isolates themselves and like shows up to work but doesn't interact, like how do you make that work? Like there's no cohesiveness. I feel like in the emergency room, if something bad hit the fan, we were all going down together. And so never in my life have I had a supportive group of people to work with as I have in the emergency room. We're all a little messed up in the head to work in the ER. Like you have to have a certain personality to work in the emergency room. And those were my people. And so we were just like, gosh, we all had each other's backs. And now when I talk to ER nurses, it's not like that at all. And it's like when I was there, we weren't allowed to have cell phones on the floor. Like that was a huge no-no. I don't know where it's come about where this is allowed. I think it's a terrible idea.
It's okay to have phone right now. The issue with TikTok right now, and that's disaster. Yeah, for me, I used to work in the ICU. So when I do my work as a health tech consultant, I visit a lot of the department. I get in more into patient room. I try to compare my days when I was in the ICU, how we work, and when I notice as a third party or second opinion, see them. Everyone isolated, no one talk with anyone. Even if there is no rush hour and they are relaxed, everyone focusing in their records and their documentation or phone. So I start to feel there is no social between them. And when I remember my days in the ICU, we were as a one unit, try to support each other. And sometime after we end the shift, spend 1 hour, 2 hours just chatting and have coffee together. And in that time, it was difficult and we getting very frustrated from the system and burn out. So with all support from the team, you work with them as a family, as a friends and brothers. Imagine now without this spirit, how they feel.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah, I mean, like on breaks when I would work midnights, we'd all go get coffee together. It was so much fun. Like, I mean, like we were just a bunch of crazy kids at the time, but it was awesome. It was, and I don't hear about like so many of the newer nurses, the post-pandemic nurses that are out there, like they feel alone. They feel so alone. And I don't understand it. Like, it's mind-boggling to me. So I feel like maybe there's something we can look at there to encourage facilitating relationships with people. And I don't know, it's kind of like with my kids. if you guys are always on your phone, you're not going to have good friendships. You're not going to like we used to drive home from school and talk the whole way home. Now I'm looking at you guys looking at your phone. Like, this is not good. Like, we need to, like, so I started telling them, like, okay, for the first 10 minutes, you have to talk to me and then you can get on your phone. Like, I want that interaction, right? So I'm wondering if there's something we could do, I don't know, implement, like, how can we be more responsible with our phones at the nurses station so that we can create the camaraderie with our people? I don't
This
know.
is
Is
where
that something we can
where
do?
the system requested from us to be resilience, but the system itself is not
Yeah.
resilience. So it's not adaptable to see the theme outside and also to follow the trends and the technology. It's
Yeah.
intent by intention, the healthcare system to be the earliest, oh, sorry, not the earliest, they delay to take any to adapt any technology because for the patient data and confidentiality and to make sure it is safe for the patient. And that
Yeah.
also reflect on a lot of the things. It's not only for the patient. The system overall, it's very hard to change and very difficult and slow. So one of those things, especially when it came for the worker and with the shortage, I think we need attractive and new solution to know how to manage our stuff. Not the same way since we started back in maybe 60, 50. Still, we have the same way to do that. So back for our question, any other contributing factor for the burnout you would like to add? Because I cut you there.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, like I know like the whole EMR thing is a problem. Like they're more interested in, dotting your I's and crossing your T's. It was so much different when we could just chart when we walked out of the room with a pen and paper. Now there's like so many boxes to check. There's so many, and that's wearing on people. And patients feel frustrated because nurses are looking at a screen versus looking at them while they're talking. So that's something that bothers them. They're seeing a lot, nurses are complaining a lot of poor work ethic amongst their peers. That's troubling. And then just the crazy workload. Like in the emergency room, we were asked at the time to have 8 patients at once. So that's crazy, right? Like we had 3 like rooms and then the rest of them were hall patients. And it's like, changing people in and out of rooms. People are frustrated because all their business is in the hallway. So that was hard, dealing with patients feeling uncomfortable being on display, which, if I'm having the worst day of my life and I'm uncomfortable, like that doesn't feel great to be in the ER in a hallway. I get that. But we were doing the best that we could, with what we had. So like the excessive workloads is wearing people down.
And this is also from patient perspective. I have discussed this with Mel Cortez, also where she was in the podcast and one of the earliest guests with me. She more focusing on the violence and abusive came from patient and companion for the staff. And if we think about again, it's not excuse for them what they are doing, but if you see about yourself as a patient, they in the system I mentioned consider them as number, moving them from location to another location without asking them sometime, without see if they are like to do that or not, and without giving them any option. Sometimes even they don't know what's going on in their case. Sometimes they get into the ER or to get onto critical procedure without any health education or just take those papers, sign it, and they know nothing about that. So if you see it from their perspective, and I don't know if you see the news last 2 days, what's happened in Pennsylvania and or the gunshot that happened there. It is not now stay in the hospital. It's go out of the hospital and everyone involved over there. And still, as a system, healthcare system, we try to solve it with our current tool was, as I mentioned, in 40 and 50s, without trying to bring something new to know what is the root of the issue and solve the root. We are
Yeah.
not solving the root of the issue.
Well, a couple of things. So I have to give the ER credit where I was at. They tried a couple of things
Yeah,
based
because you are
on,
working there.
yes. So based on the, gosh, what am I trying to say? The literature that came out at the time. So before, a long time ago, everyone would wait in the waiting room, right? Before they came back. Well, then the literature said that you had a much better chance of catching somebody having a sentinel event if they were in the back of the ER with all the nurses. So for the longest time, and I don't know if they still do this, but for the longest time, if you came into the waiting room, they would find a spot for you in the ER. Even if that nurse had already gotten just got 3 patients, it's going to be an hour before that nurse can get to this new patient, unless they're gray and coding, right? So they would shove everybody in the back. So I understood that mindset where they were trying to catch things that maybe we would miss if somebody was sitting in the waiting room by themselves. Now, the other thing is when it comes to those violent interactions. So when I was in the emergency room, we had so many violent incidents happen. We had a PA who was beat almost within an inch of her life by an upset family member who couldn't get pain meds for his loved one. We had a pregnant nurse who was 6 months along. She was punched by a psych patient in the stomach. So many things. And what always blew my mind is that we never really felt like we had the support of the whole system, saying oh, these people aren't allowed anymore. Now, to be fair, I don't always know how those things worked out because I wasn't involved in those interactions. But why can't we do more? If you punched a police officer, you're going to jail. So if you hit a nurse, why do you get a second chance to hit a nurse? Why don't you have to go to jail too? Why isn't it the same level of importance as if you were to assault a police officer or a firefighter, for crying out loud? Why do we just say it's okay? I feel like that's what we say. Do you feel like that's what we say?
Yeah, I feel you remind me. It doesn't happen with me. Luckily, we had VIP patient back in home when we were in the ICU, and that day I was off. So what happened? That VIP patient was in the room. So he get aspirated, and they try to resuscitate him and then transfer him to ICU. While they are doing the CPR in the ICU, the patient companion with gun on their chest for the physicians and the CPR team, we need our dad to come back to life now.
Wow.
However, this is not common in our country, and this does not allow anyone to, not like US. US, everyone have the some state. It is normal to see the gun with you as a weapon. In our country, this is not. It's not at all. Imagine you working under pressure. You work to restrain the patient, and at the same time, gunshot.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's crazy.
No one to say anything. No one. This is the bad things, and you mentioned it's right. So if it is a policeman, they are not allowed to do that, and they don't have the courage to do that. But if they are a healthcare professional, it's okay. Very bad. Good questions, and let's see how it goes. So if you allow me, I want to go for your practice and your way of coaching. You have your own methodology, what's called empathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about your methodology?
Yes. So I've created something that I'm so excited to launch as a group coaching thing coming up soon. It's called the Empathy Method. And essentially what I've done is I've broken down each letter to connect with something relating to emotional intelligence, just kind of a brief overview. So that's what E stands for. It stands for emotional intelligence. It explains what it is, essentially how you use it to navigate stress, set boundaries, and really sort of handle the emotional toll of the job. The second thing is for mindful communication. This is where I teach nurses how to speak up, how to advocate, not only for their patients, which most of them already know how to do, but to how to handle those difficult conversations that sometimes come up. Really focusing on collaboration and to be a really desirable team member, to be somebody that everybody wants to work with. The P stands for personal growth. While we love being a nurse, we're all very much more than a nurse, and that term, just a nurse. So essentially what the P is for is to remind you to connect with who you are outside of work. So we talk about that. A is adaptive regulation. And this is where I teach some techniques on how to manage the stress so that it doesn't manage you, because we're really good at letting the things that happen around us make us react versus responding how we want to. The T stands for time and energy management. The idea is to teach people how to get out of survival mode and to make intentional choices for their life so that they are serving their well-being so that they can show up and be the best possible nurse. I mean, all day long, we tell people what to do, how to be healthy, how to overcome an illness, but we're crap at doing it for ourselves. And so that was a part that I really wanted to include. So nurses, when they're telling people how to take care of themselves, they're doing it too. The H stands for healing connections. So this is where I hope to help people build stronger relationships with colleagues. You know, you were talking earlier how there's no sort of interaction because everybody's watching the latest YouTube video. But with the healing connections, we talk about the importance of having that person in your corner when stuff hits the fan on your unit, like building those relationships, how important it is. And then lastly, the why just stands for your why. Why are you a nurse? Why do you show up every day? Why do you continue to trudge along in this role? Is it working for you? Is this leading you to where you want to go, or do you need to pivot? Essentially, it's not about working harder. It's about working differently so that you're not feeling drained, more so you're feeling fulfilled by what you do. Because the hospital's not changing anytime soon, so it's on us. We have to change ourselves. And when we change ourselves, we set an example. And hopefully, ideally, people will kind of catch on because they'll see us not pulling our hair out, not being the ornery older nurse. And by us setting that example of caring for ourselves first, we're able to be better practitioners and people want to be around us. So that's why I created this.
I agree with you. Thank you for the details about your methodology. It's lovely. And most of my life, I don't believe the change came from bottom to up, from up to down.
Yeah.
But right now, I start to see, I think we need to work in both way, and we started from bottom to up. Because as you mentioned here, we are the system. If we change, the system will be forced to be changed. There is no choice. Mm-hmm. But if we keep blaming the system and not taking care for ourselves, so the system will not change. No one will come and fight on us. If we fight on ourselves for our needs, for our right, then the system need to accept our fighting and find a way to adapt with our needs. Otherwise, nothing will change.
Yeah, Tony Robbins has a great quote where he says, we teach people how to treat us. So if we're running ourselves into the ground, if we're eating poorly, not sleeping, that's essentially a neon sign to management saying, we'll do whatever we have to like run the department. We'll do whatever we have to show up and be a nurse. So if we start, like, if they start asking us to pick up extra shifts, and instead of us saying, oh, sorry, and like apologizing for not being able to, we say, are you kidding me? That would be the 5th shift this week. Are you trying to kill me? No, I'm not doing the 5th shift. Thank you for the offer, but I know that I wouldn't be safe for my patients. So no. And like not having any guilt about it because you're taking care of yourself. So I think if we just, like you said, just shift the narrative a little bit, they're going to have to pay attention. They're hoping we stay small. They're hoping we don't ask for more. They're hoping we don't stand up for ourselves. I think that ship has sailed. It's time.
Why the healthcare professional and caregiver should master emotional intelligence?
Yeah. Well, because if we're emotionally intelligent, then we have boundaries. We know how to ask for what we want. We know how to decrease tense situations by coming to the table with curiosity versus defensiveness. We know how to listen to understand versus listening to respond with our thoughts. There's so much that we can bring to the table, and we make our lives so much better because we can process everything. We know how to regulate our nervous system. We know how to ask for what we need. We know how to handle conflict. We know how to take constructive criticism or bad criticism, right? Like we just know how to respond. And that's why I think emotional intelligence is so powerful.
Totally agree. No doubt for that. So would you like to give us more insight about your free workshop? Your free workshop maybe will happen while still your episode is not published, but I will make sure today we take this and put it on the LinkedIn to announce about it. But give me more insight about your free workshop and why you make it free.
Yes. So I'm so excited. I am putting together a workshop. This is something that's come up in all the surveys that I've done, is that when we leave the hospital, we take it with us. So we're physically clocked out, but our brain is still on shift. And so I was like, hey, well, maybe I could teach people how to sort of decrease that incidence. So what I'm doing, it's called RN Shift Change, how to leave work at work. And what I want to do is help you break that cycle of where you're ruminating over all the decisions you made, all the patients you interacted with. And instead of going home and fighting with your partner or not paying attention to your kids because you're so wrapped up in what happened during the day at work, I want to help you to be present at home. So I want to show you how you can set boundaries without feeling guilty. I want to show you some ways that you can disconnect from nurse life and come into home life. And there's like a whole 5-minute practice that I share with you on how to do that so you can do it easily. And it's easy to remember because I set it up with a moniker, which I'll share with you when we're in the course. But it's free because I know that a lot of nurses don't understand what coaching is. I know that they feel like it's therapy, or they feel like they failed if they ask for help. And really what coaching is just a support. It's a way for you to kind of challenge your perspectives on some things, maybe learn some new ways to approach things, and really just try something different. The thing about coaching is we co-create a path forward together versus with therapy. You're looking to them to tell you what to do. And so I want to know what you want to do and what your ultimate goal is. And then we just sort of figure out a personalized path for how to get there. And so with this workshop, it's free, really just to give people a taste of what coaching is like, and to see a nurse doing something other than hospital, like working in the hospital. Like, how can working with a coach help you? And sometimes people I think it's hard to put it into words what we do. So showing them an option, I feel like is much
Are my
more
audience
helpful.
invited as well?
Oh yeah, everybody's invited. So what I'm going to do is when I start posting it on my LinkedIn page, I'm going to have a registration link. So anyone who wants to show up and get the Zoom link for the workshop, they just fill out this little survey, and then I send them a Zoom link, and then they're on.
So lovely. Thank you for your initiative. I like it. And yeah, this is good to, as a nurse, as a giver, and also as a coach, to try to give the community back and let them know, yes, we work for money, but money is not the everything. And if you want to understand who you are, what is your value, what is your asset in the life, you need to discover yourself. And if you're not invested in yourself, you will not grow. So there is misleading what's coming for coaching and mentoring, sometimes underrated, and see it from different perspectives, such as a free workshop will be very beneficial for them. This is one day?
Yeah, so hopefully I'm going to figure out how I can record it too, so that it'll be available at later times as well. But yeah, I was just going to give it a go, see if people respond well to it, see if they find it helpful. I'm just finding so much information out in these surveys that I've been doing in the DMs that I just felt like this might be something to kind of help people out. The other thing is too, is a lot of times when we look at the cost of things, we look at it monetarily versus, is it costing us our time? Is it costing us our peace of mind? Is it costing us, sleep at night? There are different types of costs out there, right? And so if you invest in yourself, for instance, one time I worked with a coach to be a healthier eater and to lose weight. And because, for 40 some years, it wasn't working for me what I was doing. So by getting somebody who has all this experience and knowledge, I was able to be successful in my endeavor because I invested in myself. And so I saved probably years of my life by taking care of my health. So hopefully I'll live longer to enjoy the things that are happening in the future because of that one-time investment, if that makes sense. So yeah, so the workshop is to show the power of coaching. I'm hoping to give people some great insight about it and then just inspire them to want to know more.
Yeah, thank you for that. I will try also to be in this workshop and learn from you and your experience, see the new technique on coaching. And I'm pretty sure I will learn a lot from you also as well. So as a closing questions, how you see the future of the healthcare system overall?
I'm so hopeful. I'm so hopeful because what other way is there to be? So I have been so inspired by yourself, by other nurses on LinkedIn who just feel called to show up for other nurses. Let them know they're not alone in their plight, to have safer work environments, camaraderie, management that connects with them, feeling they came into nursing for a reason. And a lot of times the current situation just feels really hard. But I feel like once we change our approach, once we change our perspective, once we feel empowered to use our voice, I really do see a change. And nurse coaching itself has grown so much since it started in 2012. more and more people are joining the ranks of us. More and more people are locking arms with holistic approaches. And that's really encouraging to me. The goal is just to change the mindset that so many nurses feel if they ask for help that they've failed. And that couldn't be any further from the truth. And so with all of us working together, I feel like we can show them what's possible by just a few tweaks of how we approach things, how we ask for things. I feel hopeful. I really, really do.
I would say, I mean, okay. So every time I close with my request from my guest, how you would like to close today's episode?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you're a nurse and any part of this resonated with you, I encourage you to reach out to me. I always offer a free call to anyone who just wants to see what coaching is about, to see if I could offer support. And even if you decide that working together isn't something that you want to do, I may have some resources that I can share with you that may help you figure something out or change your perspective, help you figure out what you're truly looking for. And I would just encourage you that you reach out for a call, or if you've been following somebody else even that you resonate with, reach out to them, tell them how their posts have made you feel, and you let them know that, you feel seen. I really feel like in this day and age, we can learn how to do anything on YouTube. We can see all the different paths forward that we have. I just encourage you to seek out what feels it's in alignment for you and go from there. You do not have to stay stuck. You do not have to stay miserable. That's really my message. You don't have to settle.
I will add for your messages, not from me, from a physician. He is a coach. He is coaching also as well. He told me, Anas, what happened most, as you mentioned, of the physician, they thought we are smart. We can do it by ourselves. We can take care for ourselves, and we can, if we need any technique, we can go for YouTube. They spend 2 years, 3 years by themselves. Then they are struggling. They give up, then come back for him. But what they lost 2-3 years of their time, their restlessness, sleeping and eating disorder. Then they realize they cannot do it by themselves. Not because they don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
They need someone to take them with this journey.
Yeah. Well, there's a huge difference in how nurses are raised up in nursing school and how physicians are brought up through the ranks as physicians. Physicians in residency, they will rake you over the coals. They do all sorts of things that are so different. I mean, not to say that there's not hard conversations in nursing, but we kind of approach the patient from a standpoint of not just what's bothering them, not what their ailment is, but we're looking at their spiritual health, their emotional health, their physical. We're looking at all the things, whereas doctors are taught to find the one thing that you can fix, right? And if you don't do it, then there's something wrong. And a lot of times for physicians, historically, any sort of mental health was considered a huge red flag. They weren't getting jobs. It was a big deal. So I can say this because my husband's a physician and I've learned everything about that sort of thought process. So yes, physicians, I can't remember if it's residents or physicians in general, they have the highest suicide rate because they don't ask for help. So yeah, but you're absolutely right. For so long, so many people in healthcare, they just feel like they're a failure.
You don't want to risk your safety and your life to society because you don't want to ask for help. And also, if you have financial restriction, there's a lot of free options, not necessarily to hire a coach by money. There's a lot of volunteer. They can do that for you. So go and seek to find those resources. And luckily, like you offer also free resource. Just come and sit with me and let me know if I can help you or not, or recommend it for you, another coaches for you. Ilene.
For sure.
I hope to bring you back after you finish the workshop and tell us more success story and keep the momentum up. And I like what you are doing in the social media and the LinkedIn, and your voice, it's high and heard, and keep going.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Anas, for this opportunity to come and speak to your audience. I've been looking forward to this all day. So thank you so much.
Thank you for accepting my invite. It is my pleasure having you with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
If this episode sparked something in you, here's how you can keep our mission alive. Subscribe to Uncharted Narratives Certiat. Leave us a 5-star review. It helps more amazing people discover our stories. Share an episode that moved you with a colleague or friend. Connect with me on LinkedIn and join our healthcare innovation community. Together, we're not just telling stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay passionate, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in healthcare. See you in the next episode of Uncharted Narratives Sardiyat.